Welcome to the nexus of forces, a confluence and integration of cloud, mobile, social collaboration, and information. A time of accelerating change where your IT architecture will be rendered obsolete. Now, you must lead through this change, selectively destroy low-impact systems, aggressively change your IT cost structure. This is the new world of the Nexus, the next age of computing. Now, to understand this change, you must appreciate each of the forces. So let's take a look at each of them individually. First, cloud. Cloud is the carrier for the three other forces. Mobile is personal clouds. Social media is only possible via the cloud. And big data is the killer app for cloud. Cloud will be the permanent fixture, the foundation. Now, cloud is not merely about cost cutting. The end game is not just cheap on-demand services. As a matter of fact, 90% of these services are still subscription, not pay-as-you-go. We're just at the beginning of realizing the cost benefits of cloud. But organizations moving to the cloud are also attracted by the new capabilities that they do not get today. Things like additional capacity, ability to scale out, introducing massive parallelism. It is bringing new approaches to designing applications specifically for the cloud and providing more resilience by architecting failure as a design concept. Cloud also teaches us about services and service levels. And the contrast between what the business wants for outcomes versus IT's old methods of getting there becomes stark. Today, we have a clear distinction between what the business is doing with cloud versus what IT embraces. Software as a service is adopted by 80% of businesses, while IT's use remain 80% private cloud. See, IT just doesn't trust the public cloud. Because IT departments demand that cloud providers offer enterprise-grade support, while individuals go with good enough, even ignoring risks. So fragmentation has happened, and two versions of the cloud computing destiny are evolving in cooperative tension with each other. Going forward, therefore, cloud creates a highly competitive market for services. And these changes introduce a series of threats for the established service providers. Because as cloud matures, margins will get tight. This means that the top 100 service providers will see 20 of them displaced by 2014. And our research suggests that between 2011 and 2016, the market for business process services in the cloud will double in size to nearly $145 billion US. So when you come back here in 5 years, we will be talking about the functions business does as a common practice in the cloud with or without IT's support. As Winston Churchill said, this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. That is where we are with cloud computing, the end of the beginning. Our second force is that of mobile. You need to design your business around mobile. Your customers and employees are, in fact, leading you there. In 2016, over 1.6 billion smart mobile devices will be purchased globally. 2/3 of the workforce will own a smartphone, and 40% of the workforce will be mobile. So what can you do with this channel to your customers and to your employees? Well, you see, mobile is about computing at the right time, in the moment. It is the point of entry for all applications, delivering personalized and contextual experiences. It means that marketing gets more time with the customer, employees become more productive, process flows get dramatically cut. Mobile changes applications and how they are delivered. In 4 years, more than 300 billion app downloads will occur every year. Now, the major vendors of monolithic business suites will struggle to make mobile applications that are usable and affordable and secure. And tablets will continue to shape up the business world. In less than 2 years, iPads will be more common in business than BlackBerries. Some CIOs, in fact, maybe some of you in this room, are now placing orders for tens of thousands of iPads at the time. Why? Productivity is the driver. Just 2 years from now, 20% of sales organizations will use tablets as the primary mobile platform for their field sales force. As a result, when we get to 2018, 70% of mobile workers will use a tablet or a hybrid device that has tablet-like characteristics. Hybrid devices that we're, in fact, only just starting to see in the market now. Asset ownership will change. Gartner analysts believe that in 2016, half of all non-PC devices used in business will be purchased by employees. And by the end of the decade, half of all devices in business will be purchased by employees. So you need to be in the business of delivering applications and data security to devices you don't own. You need to design for openness. The next wave of mobile computing is also coming, where the physical world becomes digital. The cost of sensors and electronic tags is plummeting. The Internet of Everything is upon us. Soon, the cost of not monitoring physical operations will be greater than monitoring, be it power turbines, railroad tracks, running shoes, or TVs. By the end of the decade, over 30 billion devices will be permanently connected, and another 150 billion intermittently. This will lead to an explosion in data and a surge in real-time analytics. Software spending resulting from the proliferation of smart operational technology is already increasing 25% each year. And to make mobility secure and scalable, cloud services will be critical. This is the way the nexus of forces works. All of the forces are interdependent. Our third force is social computing. Social computing is moving from being just on the outside of the organization to being at the core of business operations. It is changing the fundamentals of management, how you establish a sense of purpose and motivate people to act. Social computing will move organizations from hierarchical structures and defined teams to communities that cross across any organizational boundary. And in the next 3 years, the dominant consumer social networks will hit the limit of their growth. Yet, social computing will become even more important. Companies are now establishing social media as a discipline. In 3 years, there will at least be 10 organizations that each will spend $1 billion on social media. The meaning of social computing is also evolving. Deceptive practices will emerge. We predict that paid reviews and ratings will make up 15% of all social media reviews by 2015. 30% of posts to social media will be automated posts by the middle of the decade. 5% will come from non-humans, like your mother-in-law. I didn't really mean that. Social capabilities will become embedded in established business applications or exposed for developers to use. Here it will be easier for disruptive vendors like Workday and Salesforce than for the established vendors, partly because of their burden of legacy support. Internal applications will support and exploit external social environments. You could ask the question, will LinkedIn be more accurate than your most current HR data? This is the new age of specialization and collaboration. You must design for how people work. So our last force is information, or let's call it big data. By tapping a continual stream of information from internal and external sources, businesses today have an endless array of new opportunities to transform decision-making, discovering new insights, optimizing the business, and innovating their industries. 80% of business executives can today name a critical piece of information that they need from IT. That's from you. But they don't get yet. Companies that are serious about collecting and managing and deploying information are now being rewarded by financial markets. Info-centric companies have double the average market-to-book value. Innovators in areas such as medical devices are turning data collected by their equipment into information that can be sold in the cloud. A product into a service. You see, data or information can become revenue. But because organizations don't have the skills or time they need internally, they will increasingly turn to external providers. According to Gartner, 85% of marketing organizations will outsource the analysis of big data. And see, big data is also about looking ahead, beyond what everybody else sees. You need to therefore understand how to deal with hybrid data, meaning the combination of structured and unstructured data, and how you shine a light on dark data. Dark data, which is data being collected but going unused despite its value. Leading organizations of the future will be distinguished by the quality of their predictive algorithms. This is the CIO challenge, and it is your opportunity. As technology pervades every aspect of business, your role will change. Your additional challenge will be to find the skills, such as data scientists and experts in non-relational database management technologies, to fill the jobs required. Longer term, we see big data as a complete shift. A shift from today's ways of accumulating and managing and deploying information merely as a resource into valuing it as a corporate asset. So you see the four forces, cloud, social, mobile, and information, create a powerful vortex of change that we have called the nexus. So now we need to understand the impact. The impact on and driven by the consumer, the impact on vendors and the IT market, the change in your spending on information technology, and how the Nexus introduces new roles to drive increased revenue from data. So first, the increased usage of technology by consumers will result in a declining price point for the Nexus. As consumers spend more on technology as a percentage of their disposable household income, they will continue to drive prices down. See, in 1980, technology spending was a mere 0.8% of disposable household income. In 2011, this has tripled to 3%. And in a couple of years, it will be 3.5%. Consumers are the accelerator. However, your current security strategy may be holding you back. It is the brake. The Nexus will force you to rethink your security strategy. So overall, consumers create an accelerating change in speed of innovation. The complexity of your IT infrastructure and lack of new IT skills will be your Achilles heel. Secondly, the IT market changes. We're at an inflection point now. Judging by the challenges we have seen at HP and Microsoft and Cisco recently, the large mega vendors are each being challenged by at least one of the four forces. The challenges for the mega vendors will accelerate as cloud puts pressure on margins, mobility on the need for simplicity and client devices, and collaboration on the process model for software. Are your vendors excelling you into the future or putting the brakes on your progress? You can expect to see a continued number of disruptive vendors that will change the way IT is delivered. And you only have to look at what's happening in the mobile market. The top vendors a few years ago, Nokia, Motorola, RIM, are struggling to move away from the purely mobile solutions to the Nexus, to socially capable, information-driven, built in the cloud mobile ecosystems. For vendors such as Microsoft, challenges lie ahead. However good the prospect looks for Windows 8 in the consumer market and perhaps for tablets, there are no compelling business imperatives to drive legacy devices in business towards Windows 8. Therefore, 90% of enterprises will bypass broad-scale deployment of Windows 8 through at least 2014. So as you see, some will struggle and others will thrive. We believe the Nexus will grow the IT market, though. Our research suggests that over the next 12 months, the global IT market will grow 3.8%, reaching a magic $4 trillion 4 years from now. It is likely that as that growth accelerates, we will need to expand our definition of what the technology market is. Why, may you ask? Well, technology spending has long existed outside of IT, in stealth mode, but it's now out in the open. Technology is embedded in almost every product that is sold, from shoes to cars to heavy machinery. In our factory floors, our roads, in digital marketing, and in traditional IT services, now being sold to business directly through the cloud. Let me actually show you this. I have it over here on my tablet. Hold on. See, this chart shows total technology spend. What you see on the y-axis is the percentage of technology spending outside of your IT department. The x-axis indicates the size of spend, as does the size of the bubble. 12 years ago, technology spending outside of IT was on average only 20%. Now let me show you what will happen in a specific industry over the next couple of years. Let's take manufacturing. Now, you know manufacturing is an asset-intensive industry delivering products. But as manufacturing adds technology to create smart products, implements intelligent manufacturing, digitizes the entire supply chain, the spending on technology outside of the IT department increases. Take a look. I'll show you. What you see here is it becomes 90% at the end of the decade. Now, let me show you what happens in another industry. Let's take media, which is this one. In media, as you know, it's a services-focused industry. As media goes through the tremendous changes of digitization, it becomes almost completely digitized. And as you can see, I'll move up to 2018. See? Completely digitized. This, in fact, is the trend you are all seeing with the march towards digital marketing. And if I go to all industries, as you can see, we are all digitizing our business. Interesting to keep in mind as you go through this week. But the most fascinating is how the Nexus changes the fundamentals of business. It creates new business models that disrupt the established industry. Take the financial services industry. The intersection of the four forces create new mechanisms for transporting money, new ways of creating wealth. Gift networks, barter networks, crowdfunding models, and new payment systems such as Google Wallet, PayPal here, and Square. The change brings light to a fundamental question. What is the future of money? The change caused by the Nexus redefines the financial services industry faster than the current banks and insurance companies can react. Similar changes are happening in your industries. So it is time to change the way you view technology in your organization. The change is about increased digitization. First, organizations are digitizing segments of business, such as moving marketing spend from analog to digital, or digitizing the R&D budget. Secondly, organizations are digitizing how they service their clients in order to drive higher client retention. And thirdly, they are turning digitization into new revenue streams. The result is every budget is an IT budget. Let me say that again. Every budget is an IT budget. Digitization of the enterprise is commencing as a result of the Nexus. Therefore, organizations will create the role of a chief digital officer, part of business unit leadership, a new seat at the executive table. They will be responsible for the digital business strategy. According to Gartner, by 2015, 25% of organizations will have a chief digital officer. You will need to focus on how this changes your relationship with business unit managers, how governance of information and technology changes, and whether we are on the verge of creating the next generation's integration problems. That is, the integrations of islands of technology now implemented in and by business units. The Nexus also accelerates the information economy. In fact, it creates a new layer in the economy, which is about information. turning information or data into revenue. This will accelerate the growth of the global economy. It will create jobs. Gartner predicts that by 2015, 4.4 million IT jobs globally will be created to support big data. 1.9 million IT jobs in the United States. In addition, every one of these big data-related roles in the US will create employment for 3 people outside of IT. So a total of 6 million jobs in the United States created by the information economy over the next 4 years. Sounds like great news. Here's the challenge. There is not enough talent in the industry. Our public and private, which is you, education systems, are actually failing us. Therefore, only 1/3 of those IT jobs will be filled. Data experts will be a scarce and valuable commodity. You will need to focus on how your organization develops and attracts the skills required. These jobs will be needed to grow your business. These jobs are the future of the new information economy. So to summarize, the new information layer will create new jobs, new revenue, but require new skills. The individual dominates the changes happening, and a misguided approach to security will hold you back. The spread of information technology spending outside of IT requires you to consider your role. Focus, connect, and lead. This morning, we will illustrate just how dramatic this change is and how leaders are meeting that challenge. You will see what a totally immersive computing environment will mean for your customers and your employees. The power of the personal cloud, the importance of contextual experiences. This is the reality of your future. We are going to start from an individual's point of view, a customer and an employee. This is how your world is changing.